Sigvald's amazing combat performance combined with his relatively cheap cost made a lot of players think that he is an outright OP character, as the Slaanesh Prince can sit there with minimal micro, soloing half an army by himself thanks to his amazing combat stats, heavy armor, healing, and perfect vigor. So how do we kill him? The most common way to deal with this guy is to use some big giant expensive monsters to pummel him, but turns out that's not necessary at all. Earlier this week, I was running some tests with Rapunzel, and apparently, she can comfortably beat Sigvald with a single regrowth. And sometimes, if she gets lucky, the regrowth isn't even needed. I also ran some similar tests with Tyrion on foot, Vlad von Carstein, and Quick Hat Taker. Sigvald, despite being called a duelist, was no match to any of them. So to kill Sigvald, you don't necessarily need the scariest monster. All you need are 3 things, and 3 things only. The first one is to use a single entity. Sigvald, being a footlord, can only be surrounded by so many unit models, so multi-entity units will have a hard time dumping their full DPS onto him. Secondly, your unit needs to have good melee stats, preferably with some sort of melee stat modifier to increase your unit's attack or lower Sigvald's melee defense to nullify Sigvald's defensive buffs. And finally, you need something with high weapon strength to beat Sigvald into submission quickly before he can drag the whole fight into late game, where your unit stats are ruined by exhaustion, while Sigvald, unaffected by vigor loss, will be fighting in pristine condition. Now, let's use the Kraken Lord Lokhir Felhard as an example. His high baseline stat combined with his ability the Dreaded Duelist, he has some really nice melee attack. With 84 melee attack combined with the 30 bonus versus infantry, he actually has 114 melee attack, overwhelming Sigvald's 108 melee defense, combining Slippery and Stand or Die. Now Lokhir, by combining his Deadly Onslaught and also bonus versus infantry, he had almost 600 weapon strength against Sigvald, capable of dishing out massive damage regardless of armor. Basically, Lokhir was able to beat Sigvald with a combination of good melee stats and weapon strength. Same goes for the other characters I mentioned earlier. Rapunzel has the Sword of Lyonesse buffing her attack and weapon damage, as well as the blinding effect from her explosion to lower Sigvald's melee stats. Combined with her own good melee stats partly provided by her banner, her bonus versus infantry, her armor-piercing weapon strength, and a bit of healing support, she was able to do some significant damage to Sigvald. And then there's Tyrion, an amazing melee fighter with armor-piercing attacks. With the melee stat buffs from Feint and Riposte, he just straight up dominated Sigvald. Vladidaddy von Carstein, having some amazing combat stats overall, simply out-healed Sigvald while counter-punching with armor-piercing attacks. And then there's Queek, who has an arsenal of melee buffs and debuffs, using that trophy hat to debuff Sigvald while buffing himself with his melee attack buff, the weapon damage as well, and in the end, mercilessly killed Sigvald in a quick fight. Of course, you don't necessarily have to bring Footlord, just that Footlord generally have better melee stats. I've actually brought Karl Franz on horseback to some degree of success. He was able to overwhelm Sigvald in a hurry with some support of Demigryph Knights. I remember bringing a warrior priest as well, so a combination of Hammer of Sigma and Reichland Runefang to buff Karl Franz's melee attack, while using Galmaras to increase that armor-piercing weapon damage, was enough to quickly crush Sigvald's skull. Honestly, there are numerous ways to kill Sigvald, just that the players need to experiment what works and what doesn't. For the dwarves, you can bring Floric Ironbrow on his toilet seat, providing the 25% physical resistance and Rune of Doom as well as the Rune of Speed. That will be enough to help Floric Ironbrow do some nasty attacks onto Sigvald, especially given he has weapon strength with armor piercing. You can use chariots as well. Say for example, we have Norska here. Take Wolfric on his chariot, and now you have armor piercing, anti-infantry, as well as a bunch of abilities including Fight or Die and also Hunter of Champions to destroy Sigvald in melee combat with a devastating charge. Really, there are many more ways to finish off Sigvald as long as they're fulfilling those 3 conditions: single entities, good melee stats, and high weapon damage. Personally, my favorite is still Footlords because they are easy to use, while mounted characters will need to do some cycle charging. Still, I'm pretty sure that there are more players out there who can come up with more ways and even better ways to deal with Sigvald. And what do you think? What ideas do you have to deal with this sticky, sturdy, and slippery Slaanesh Prince? Feel free to leave a comment down below and share us your ideas. And that is gonna be all for today's video. I hope you find it helpful. Remember to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. That will make sure you get notified every time I upload a new video. They will be covering topics including battle replays, tips and strategies, and also wild army builds for Total War Warhammer 2. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical signing out.